Blood on the streets, the town of Rockford. Blood on the streets, the city of London. Thank you for joining us, folks. We're going to change gears here dramatically and do the most clumsy segue ever in the history of American radio. Go right from 9/11 to the Princess Diana investigation, which has really been welling up for the last year, the anniversary of her death coming up, and everybody getting in on it. Our friend Joseph Skelton does an amazing website, and I want everybody to bookmark this website. They do such great work, and you want to get on their mailing list and get all the police state news, which I get every day. There's so much of it that I can't even report it even on a 2-hour show. I could take Joseph Skelton's daily news briefs from cremationofcare.com. I can literally do a 2-hour show and not even barely scratch the surface. He's just doing amazing work over there in the United Kingdom in the city of London. He joins us now. Joseph, good to have you on the air with us, bud.
Evening, Jack. It's good to be back, and thanks for the introduction.
We even got the canned applause for you. Wow, man. You only get that after so many appearances on the program. And this is why the Daily Show's so big. You got canned applause, and you have the applause sign. We need to incorporate that in our program. Let's talk about Diana. You've been following the story. It just came out today, Joseph, that they're now brushing this all under the carpet. They have now determined, our loving governments in the New World Order has now determined that there was no funny business going on in the Diana investigation. We were given a problem. We're given a solution. What is going on now? Where are we?
Well, it's further than under the carpet. It's more like it's under the floorboards, to be honest. Basically, today we've had the report published on Operation Paget, which is basically the official investigation done by Lord Stevens. And it's taken about, 3 years to publish this, about 870-odd pages long. I've scanned through it because it's only just come out today, and it's basically just a lot of the things he said are right. We can't prove this, therefore we're just going to assume it was an accident, basically. I mean, there's a lot of good arguments that they make. I mean, a lot of Fulton, they've obviously done a lot of work, and I'm sure that a lot of the people that are involved in it actually believe that it was an accident, and so fair play to them. But at the end of the day, I mean, they haven't really considered the fact that this was a professional hit. You know, obviously the evidence isn't going to be there because it was covered up straight away.
Here's what David Shaler, who I know you work with in England, former MI5 agent, been on our program many times. He said, quote, vehicle accidents are used as a way of assassination precisely because they are such a common cause of death. It is easy for the authorities to claim that anyone crying foul play is simply a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist, and I'll just add airplane accidents to the car accidents because this seems to be a common way for the elite to take out their detractors.
Well, yeah, I mean, David should know he's been in 3 suspicious car accidents. One of them was shortly after the Diana accident. He was in Paris in a black Ritz Mercedes going to see Mohammed Al-Fayed for obvious reasons because he'd just blown the whistle at the time. And there's a suspicious incident where the driver fell asleep at the wheel, and it was only because he went over a kind of a bump that the driver woke up, and which was very suspicious.
This is why I don't drive, folks. I never drive, almost never. Yeah, and it makes sense, really. Now, when you're talking about Diana, Joseph, I think the best thing to do is talk about who benefits. We always need to ask this question, qui bono. Who benefited from Diana disappearing off the face of the earth in such an exalted way where we could have these big, giant, Illuminati-driven New World Order ceremonies to exalt her death? It was probably a ritual sacrifice in a place, the Pointe Alma Tunnel, which was known in centuries gone by as a sacrifice chamber. They hit the 13th pole, but putting all that aside, who benefited from this? Obviously, the royal family.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can look to the words of Diana herself before she was assassinated. She basically said, "I'm going to be involved in a car accident," in inverted commas. It's basically the New World Order minions of the establishment. I mean, there's a number of people that are actually, obviously above the royal family. And I mean, what was it the Queen said to Paul Burrell about the dark forces that are watching over them? I mean, that was mainstream media.
And the reason why, I guess, if we're going to take a shot at this, Joseph, is because the royal family was made to look bad by Diana. I'm sure they thought with their hubris that they could just eject her from the scene once they had the royal children, and she would never be heard from again except for in some social circle. What they didn't count on is her going out and talking publicly about some of the things that she saw and heard within the royal family, as well as campaigning against the military-industrial complex.
Well, exactly. I mean, just imagine what kind of a voice of dissent she would have been today with the whole, war on terror and the invasion in Iraq. She'd have been devastating towards the people that are benefiting from that right now. I mean, it's fairly obvious.
Just like John Lennon. I mean, these are people that, for whatever reason, they have so much charisma, or the media has built them up to such a degree that whatever they say carries so much weight that they become fearful to the establishment.
To do with credibility, to do with visibility. I mean, as soon as anybody who's in the public eye speaks out and anything of any real significance, to get hauled over the coals, and in Diana's case, she was taken out.
Joseph, we don't have the best connection, but we're going to bear through it for a few minutes and then try to get you back on the line during the next break to get out some of the interference. The recent revelation that came out last week by Byron York, as well as other people, have released this information. Did the Clinton administration spy on Princess Diana?
Well, it certainly sounds like it. I mean, we have acknowledgements that from people like Richard Tomlinson, that people like Henry Paul, who was the driver, was obviously on their book. And we only have to go back to the Squidgygate affairs with the whole Camilla and Charles thing, where their conversations were recorded and just happened to get picked up by the right people that could record it and get them out into the mainstream. I mean, obviously these people were being bugged. Diana knew that her home was being bugged. This is no secret, but of course because we can't say anything definitive about it, it's been whitewashed by the Operation Paget.
Well, it's not too hard to imagine that, Bill Clinton being a favorite of the royals, he's a Rhodes Scholar, educated at Oxford, he wouldn't use his presidency to assist the royal family in monitoring Diana and perhaps even cooperating with them in the assassination.
Well, he was a whipping boy of the establishment, wasn't he? Just like most presidents are nowadays. That's basically the way it works. But I do know that he was basically, starting to become on Diana's side with the whole landmines issue just before she was killed. I mean, if she could affect somebody like the president, of course she was going to be a threat to the New World Order establishment.
Well, especially when they know in advance that they're about to go into a 100-year war. Nothing like Princess Diana, who who has some not nefarious connections, but, her relations with Dodi Fayed and even Muslims, probably not going to look good. I'm sure they could anticipate what she would do. I think overall, and this is probably going to be hard for my listeners to digest, Joseph, I think overall, more than anything else, and I'll put this on the same level as John F. Kennedy, it didn't have so much to do with the landmines. It didn't have so much to do with what she knew, insider knowledge of the rituals and the things that go on within the Balmoral Castle or within the establishment of the royal family. It really had to do with a sacrifice. And I'd like to get your opinion on that when we come back from this break. I'd also like to talk about Dodi Fayed's dad coming out and saying, I don't agree with any of this. This was a hit. She was assassinated. And Dodi Fayed also assassinated in this. But that's the question. JFK, the establishment had a lot of problems with them. Princess Diana, the establishment had a lot of problems with them. But what can be gained on this monstrous level of sacrificing these icons in the world, and what kind of fear-based mind control can be reaped from that? I think that should be in the discussion. We'll come right back with Joseph Skelton right after this. Stay tuned.
Everybody
I think it's fair to say that if we look at the